A very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Toivan Jabela, your host. Tonight we have a very inspirational guest on the show. That is Chrispin Matengu, who is differently abled, or disabled as some would say, but he has defied his physical limitations to achieve his life goals. Of course, he's still pursuing his life goals, but even those that have been achieved already are very inspirational. And Chris is here to speak to us just about his journey, his life and professional journey. But Chris, thank you very much for making time. Really, it's a pleasure. Thank you for coming, and also a pleasure meeting you. Tell us about who Chris Matengu is, where you came from, and maybe a bit of history, if you don't mind, just what kind of disability you have, and then we go into other things.
Thank you, Toivo, and thank you for having me to come to this platform and also to share my personal testimony on the journey of a disabled child or boy before independence and after independence. Chrispin Matengu is my name. I am a married man. I have children, and I have seen a lot in life, but I'm very grateful that I could be here this evening. And I was not born a disabled person, per se, but historically there was an outbreak of polio in Namibia, and we were part of the casualties. At a very young age, when this polio came into this country, it affected many of us, and most of us, we became crippled. And this disability, mine is more of physical and skeletal, but it has some dimensions. You will have some that are mentally not well, some that are blind, some that are in wheelchairs, some that uses clutches. So it's varied. It's a dimension of them, but the stigma is the same. The problems that they face in life, it's more or less the same. They are treated as they were treated as outskirts. But I think that is me in short.
No,
Thank
wonderful. You. Thank you, Chris. Chris. So I suppose around what age did you get polio that left you in this condition?
10, 11, somewhere there. 10, 11 years. Yes.
Okay. Very young, just at the very beginning of your life journey, actually. You are from Impalila Island?
Yes, I was born and bred in the island of Impalila. And where my village is and where the school is, I think we can say roughly 4 to 5 kilometers, which means a boy with clutches used to trek that route each morning and coming back each evening.
Oh, man.
Yes.
That's a long distance. But you were determined. You had a vision for your life, and you pursued that. So at the time you were using clutches?
Yes.
Okay. How was it like being different from other kids, and kids being kids also? I'm sure they must have had a lot to say about you, the environment at the school itself. What can you recall about from those days?
Yes, what I can recall from those days, because people like us who have some disabilities in nature, it was very, very difficult. That's why our liberators, our forefathers who liberated this country, they have to make policies and procedures and laws so that people with disabilities are treated fairly as well. Because it was terrible when you start it from the family setup. There are those ones who looked at you or your mother as a case, that it cannot just be an ordinary incident. Somebody might have done something to deserve a child like this, which means that even our mothers also, they faced the stigma that their own children faced, because you are cut off. So in my primary school, I remember when I went to the primary school with my clutches, because there's other kids, they have to watch at you. Who is this one who is different from us? Just by looking at me, I remember that time, because you remember kids there is this thing they call a period has finished, you have to change to go to another class or whatsoever. So when the kids were gazing at me, I remember at one stage I fall down. And when you fall down, they put some ice cakes on top. They laugh at you. Yeah, so because they don't know who you are, and because the stigma is all there, it's starting from the villages. Yeah, so, but I'm very thankful that in a situation like that, that's why school principals and teachers are very, very important in our society. Because I'm very lucky that I had a principal who had an understanding.
What was his name?
I remember at that time I was schooling, now I was in town now schooling at a school called Ngweze Primary School. We had a very good principal. I think his name was Alfred. Yeah, Alfred Mutakari Lomo. Yes. After he's seen that I have some kids who are disabled and they can be exposed to ridicule. Whenever we are taking a break, the principal will take a walk. Will walk behind the bathroom checking. And then he will find that your clutches have been grabbed by the fellow students and they're even throwing dust on you. And then he will intervene. This was a full principal, not teachers. Because he knew that these kids will be ridiculed. So we have to be under the safety net of the principal. And I'm very glad. That's why teachers and the principal, we need to respect these people, because they see things in schools that even parents do not see. Yes, that was my journey at the primary school. It was very challenging, but with the help of the school principals, I made it to swim through that primary school time.
Where did you go next? Where did you attend high school?
Yeah, then I attended the high school. Now, after I completed the high school, I went back to Impalila Island. That's where I attended my high school. Still the same, you will face these ridicules. These attitudinal barriers that are phenomena that are created by people in their mind, because they look at you, they have got some opinions about you, because they think and believe that being a disabled is a character flaw. It's a character flaw, which means that they believe that you cannot perform or do something to expectation in which they expect. So at the secondary school, I went there and I attended the secondary school very well, with the same attitudinal problems that were there. And to such an extent that I remember one time, Toivo, that we were the last intake, those who wrote what they called Cape Education. We were the last team. So I remember there was a fee that used to be paid. They called it a $72 examination fee. And I did not have that examination fee. And the HOD then at the school sent me home that you cannot continue, you will not write exam. You are fired from school until if you can produce that money. The principal was not there, was attending a workshop in Katimamulilo in town. Because I was the only one with clutches, a disabled child at the school. When the principal came back, 1 week passed without seeing somebody with clutches. Then he inquired, where is Matengu? Then he was informed that he could not produce the $72, so he was chased from school. And then he asked who authorized the chase. Because as the principal, I'm the final custodian
for those decisions.
For this decision. That he reprimanded the HOD then, and I was called back to school. I only had 1 week left for me to sit for exam. That time when I came back to school. So that's why we are saying that school principals, they play a major role, especially if they have got children with disabilities. If they don't guard them, they can vanish. Yes. So I wrote my exams, and to the surprise of the school, I became the top of the class at school.
Okay.
So regionally, when they count the people who passed well in the top 10, I was there in the top 10. But the stigma was still there.
Yeah.
That was before. Yeah, we were independent by then.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you did you proceed for tertiary education? Did you get some financial assistance like bursaries and whatnot?
Yes, after finishing grade 12, remember now you are in the island now.
Yeah.
You finished grade 12 because that principal intervened, and I had to write exams. And the other teachers, a certain teacher chipped in to say, since you are even staying very far, come stay with me so that your exam is just next week, so that you can write while you are nearby here.
Okay.
That's how I survived. That's why we need to respect the teachers and the principal. They are doing a great job in society that people are not seeing. So after I finished then, as a child also, because the only thing that we knew is to become a police officer or you become a teacher. So I was eager to become a teacher as well. And then I applied to, they used to call it Caprivi College of Education.
Yeah.
And then when there were colleges, when I came now in town to that institution, as the only guy again on clutches, you could hear some sentiments, but why is this one also in the queue? With the notion that maybe I'm there to beg some money or some assistance, not knowing that this guy also passed. He needs to be accommodated in the institution here. I did my best to apply there, but I could not go through. I could not be accepted, even though we were in the top 10 or 20 regionally. People who did not pass very well made it into the college.
Yeah.
People who did not do very well, but us who did very well could not make it, because when they look at you, they have already some perception that you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. The stigma is there. Their attitude, they put a barrier that you cannot bypass. So, as a black community, children with disability, they went through a lot than in the white community.
Yeah.
Because I could not penetrate, especially where the management were. Even my teachers, my former school principal, they were amazed that how can I not be accommodated?
Yeah.
They were surprised. I had to apply to an institution that the principal and most of the teachers, they were whites.
Yeah.
That's where I was accepted.
Okay.
Yes, for tertiary. So I had to go to that institution and do a 3-year program, a diploma in agricultural science, to specialize in what they call commercial business management specialism.
Yeah.
And I went to and fro even to collect those things that they give, that you are a top student in this, you are top. I collected all those things. Then I finished with a diploma. That was in 1999. 1999. Then I finished. Now I need to come to the labor market now to apply for jobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure there you had also a lot of challenges, but we'll talk about that in a moment, Chris, when we return from the break. We continue on the evening review with Chrispin Matengu. Now, Chris, you were done with your diploma in agriculture. You were talking about just entering the job market. The job market, people tell us that especially around 1999 when you finished, 1999 is when you graduated or when you started at the college?
Graduating 1998.
1998.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were graduating at the height of conversations around affirmative action. We must look at previously disadvantaged people with disability and whatnot. Did that help you to enter the market?
You see, the problem in the society is sometimes the attitudinal barriers. They can make you, as a disabled child, altogether invisible because of the character flaw. At that time when we were graduating, because our leaders, the political will is there. Yeah, let us not, our government, they are doing very well. The political will is there, is doing very, very well. But the technocrats that are in there to implement these deliberate policies, they do otherwise. Yeah, they do otherwise. Because our liberators, or the political will, they saw to it that a child of a disability nature was not invited on the table. Because what used to happen is, if there are visitors in the village, these children used to be tied behind. They should not be seen or be heard. They are tied behind, meaning they are isolated until when the visitors go. That's when you will say, bring that one also here. Because it's like you are a curse. So by that time, after graduating, now you have got the technocrats who are there, who are also not trained to say there are people with disabilities, by the way, which we need to bring in. They are also surprised to see that can a person with disability, can the person graduate also and become somebody, or challenges us on some of aspect. If we were seated on a table that is level, they could not also understand that. So I remember firmly after graduating, we started applying. Most of the teams that we graduated with, some of them when we were doing assignments, you can be the prominent person, this group assignment, even to assist. But when it came to employment opportunities, most of my team, those I graduated with, they got into the labor market. But I remember one interview that surprised me. You get in there, people are asking you a question, can this one drive a tractor? But they can see on the result there, it's even written that you are a top student in tractor and motor mechanic, farm implements. But can this one drive? How will this one go around the farm advising farmers? Will he walk? Will he drive a GRN vehicle? Those were impediments. So the moment you get in there, they start to ask you, can you drive? You realize that here is a no-go area. I don't think I'll make it. So it was a barrier.
And sometimes, I suppose, sometimes they did not even know, they couldn't tell from the application that the applicant has this condition.
Yes.
They only get surprised when you walk in the...
Yes. Yeah. They only get surprised. You come in, they say, how can this one on clutches say that he did agriculture? So they already have the attitude. Remember, these are the same people who had already attitude with a child who is disabled. From wherever they come from their village, they had attitude already. They've seen that these people were treated differently, so we cannot treat them, I think a disabled child was close to those ones who were treated with leprosy. The only difference is those ones were now taken out of society into some small houses somewhere outside. But you were still within your family, within your society, but you are tortured while still there. Because people get tired of you. They need to bring for you water. Maybe you cannot fetch your own water. They get tired of that charity. So generally, disabled kids were dirty because you cannot do some of the things by yourself. So I could not penetrate that market, though I was a graduate.
I'm curious as to, obviously you have a job now, and of course we're not going to say where you work now, but I know that you have a very, very important job right now in one of the pension fund, in the pension fund industry. But what was your first job? I'm curious about what must have been your first job.
Yes, my first job, I applied those which I wanted to get, but I could not penetrate the labor market. So I had just to wallow to be in the city of Windhoek, trying to look for chances where you can get a job. And I bumped into various ministries. At that time, the disability unity was under Ministry of Lands. Yeah. I think under Pendukeni at that particular time. So one minister at that time was the Minister of Education. I bumped into that minister, into his office. I think it was Minister Nahasangula. But it's a long time. They won't remember this. I bumped into that office. And he said in his common, because he was jovial that morning. Because I just bumped into the office. The secretary was so nice to say, oh, you want just to say hi to the minister? Oh, come in. Then what do you want? Young man, you want a job? But you are disabled. Go to Pendukeni. Your thing is under. Then that's when I went there to Minister of Lands. And then when I got there, then I went into that section which was managing the affairs of people with disability. I remember the custodian lady there by name. I think it was Miss Juliet Mupurwa. If I pronounce them very correctly. Yeah, I sat with her. She said, "Oh, I saw you, young man. You graduated." I said, "Yes, it's me." Then he said, "Right, take your qualification to Okuliangawa." There was a disability center there. Yes, so I took my papers there. These centers, they just need more support. They are doing a lot. They just need more support from the technocrats within the institution. So I took my documents there. And where now I find myself to where I am working is, I don't know what came in the mind of that CEO who recruited me. It has to take the whole CEO to leave his comfortable office to drive to Okuliangawa to say, I am looking for people to employ even one or two people with disabilities. Went there, I don't know the person. He went there to grab some forms there. He chose some few forms there. That's how I was called to come and work to where I am today. It has to take the whole CEO. Because if it was not a CEO, I could not have been there. Because the technocrats, they will always block you. But because the custodian was the CEO, he made sure that the policies of government, they are also adhered to and implemented. Thank you.
Absolutely. So over and above yourself now, beyond yourself, what do you see today, Mr. Matengu, on the ground in terms of people who are differently abled, people who are disabled, people who are physically challenged with different impairments, whether it's sight or hearing? Today, what is the picture that you are gathering?
What I see is that the policies and the laws are there, and the political will of our leaders is there. But the implementation, it's the problem, because it needs a human factor.
When we see these vacancies every day in newspapers, people saying people with disability are encouraged to apply, is it just a template, or is it really people willing from the heart to accommodate people like yourself in these institutions?
You know, those small statements that they attach there, it's not enough. It's not enough. Remember, these were people who were sidelined totally. And they also still believe that I can still be sidelined even today. Because when I came in after being employed, I had to redo my qualifications so that I become relevant to where I am. It's like the other three years you undo because you could not penetrate. You have to redo it. So the challenges are still there. When the National Disability Hour, where I belong as well, when they say that nothing to be done about us without us, you know, people normally think that you can be an advocate of something you don't believe in. Also have those who believe in, so that they can become the champion of that. So that they can also pull the other to come in. putting the statement that we encourage those who are disabled to apply, it does not, it's not sufficient because a disability policy or the affirmative action, that is a deliberate move.
Yeah.
When the government, like now, the political will says that we are going to concentrate on employing, for example, young people to reduce unemployment, that is a deliberate move. So resources has to be taken from there to address that impasse that is there. So when you talk about disability inclusion, it's a deliberate move. Somebody needs to deliberately do that. Meaning the people who were not, they might not have the same experience or the same education, but deliberately, you have to say, we are recruiting you here. We know that it was a requirement of a degree, but you have a diploma, but we cannot give you on this notch. We give you this notch until you acquire this qualification. So, but it requires a human factor for somebody to do that because the priorities are different. The other technical people, they say, we don't want this one. We have already our own person. Sometimes even those who deal with human resource matters in the institution, they are locked up in these quarters because at the end it's power play. The one who is powerful wins the argument.
The final question to you, Chris, if you can summarize it for me in the interest of time, is in situations where, like we were speaking about these people saying, can this man actually work on a farm? Can he, go from the corner of the farm to the other one to monitor what is happening on the thing? In situations where a person without disability and who is naturally stronger than you, especially in physical circumstances, what do we do there? How do we balance this thing? Because there's now that guy who is able-bodied, and Mr. Matengu, who has the zeal and everything, but perhaps his physical condition will not allow him to match the other one. Do we sacrifice the guy who can do the job? How do we navigate around scenarios like that, briefly?
You see, the government has put in policies and laws to minimize that discriminatory factors that are there. So for institutions, they need to accommodate such to remove the physical barriers. If it's communication barriers, you remove them. But because it's a deliberate move, it is something that other people don't want. So as a CEO, say if I'm a CEO, I will not listen too much because I'll just say, no, my government, this is the policy. We need to do this. If you listen too much, you will not be able to apply that. So the first and foremost thing is to remove the barriers out of it and look at it that, no, we can also do this together. Because if you can't do that, like now with the policies that are there, unlike us before independence, the policies are there. There is hope for people with disabilities. There are some institutions that are dealing with these matters. We are far much better than where we came from. So it's just to build on this one and to strengthen these institutions that are there, that are helping people with disability, be it the employment equity, so that they have more teeth than what they have now. I believe they do not have much teeth.
Absolutely. But Chris, your story is inspirational. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your bravery. Thank you for your zeal to come here and share your story. We wish you the best, and we will call you back again sometimes, especially on those commemorative days, to share about, to talk more about the challenges and opportunities that exist for people like yourself.
Thank you so much, Toivo, and I appreciate for your invitation. I appreciate for inviting me to come here. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. That is Chrispin Matengu. He is, of course, physically challenged, but he has defied all those challenges throughout life to carve out a very decent life for himself now as a father, married man, and a very good professional in the pension funds industry. Thank you for watching.